guys, welcome back to another episode of CEO's Corner. For this episode, I kind of want to walk you guys through how we get actual apparel made. So usually it starts off with blanks. We have a bunch of blanks here of our favorite cut and fitment that we like. So kind of that fitment that everyone always talks about, oh, I love the way Barbell Brigade shirts fit or how soft it is. It's because we have a very specific fitment and cut and style that we go for. And from here, we have kind of like our base colors. Then we figure out what print we want to go on there. And although it seems very, very simple, like, okay, like this one is just gray on blue, it's actually not that simple because we have a bunch of them here that are white on blue. So when you put it next to each other, yes, they're completely different, but from far away, it feels like they're exactly the same, but it's actually these little minor adjustments that make all the difference. And the reason why is because of this. When we look at the line, we're not just looking at this item for what it is, we're comparing this with everything we've ever launched before. So we kind of take the customer in mind, and our original No Limits shirt was white on black. So we would think if they have already a white on black shirt, would having a white on blue shirt really add to their overall Barbell Brigade wardrobe? Or would having a gray on dark blue add a completely different touch and variation to that? So that's why we went with light gray on blue. But in the process, we still just print everything so that we can actually look at things physically and see, okay, this is how this looks like, and really compare it. Because ultimately, although there is that intent where we're like, okay, what's the full Barbell Brigade wardrobe look like? We still just want to make sure at the end of the day, this is the best product that we could have made at that moment. And with the light gray on blue, that's what we ended up choosing. So we go through this process with every single item. Like for here, for example, we have the Dominate Humbly, an olive green, and you think that this is the one that we're releasing, but it's not. It's actually on this light one. So we wanted to give our clothes this, not just a super fitness-centric feel, but also something that's a little bit more casual. And when you go with something this aggressive, and this is literally the color that the military uses, it has a very militaristic feel and a very industrial feel. And if you wanted to wear something like this with, like, for example, even the clothes that I'm wearing, like this lighter green with like the torn jeans and white shoes, it just fits better because it's a little bit more casual compared to something that's like this where it's the dark green and then now it has a completely different feel, and it almost feels like this doesn't match the jeans. And my lower half is very casual looking. So these are kind of the little attention to details that we pick out. And even more so than this, when we pick the screen printing color, we use this thing called a Pantone. So if you guys realize when you watch your same TV show, like let's say Game of Thrones, for example, when you see that on your TV, in your living room versus on your laptop versus on your phone, those colors, they all look different, right? Because every single screen has its own way of portraying color and it's calibrated differently. Then you would think, how do people in the artistic world, how are they able to communicate with each other? And this is their international language, and this is how we're able to communicate with any manufacturer, whether they're from England to China to Singapore. We're able to go, okay, if we want this blue, it's gonna be 1939 TPG, and this blue is the universal blue for this specific color. And what's crazy is this Pantone book, you actually are supposed to replace, I think, every 3 to 5 years, because just color under light, it starts changing shade. So even the Pantone book itself can start changing. And if you really want to be on the same page with every other manufacturer, with every other clothing company, or even designers or even printers that you're working with, you want to make sure that you choose something that's up to date. And so when we're choosing the print here, even for the gray, like we'll look into, okay, what specific gray is that? To the common person, you might just choose any light gray, but if you really want to be specific, like which one of these grays actually looks the best on blue, you know, and then which one of these grays are actually gonna be in style. So we take all those things into consideration when we make our clothes and the scheduled release, so we can make sure that our clothes are not only dope in the gym and dope on the street, but also fashionable with everything else that's coming out. And one of the hardest decisions we had to make actually was this one. So when we made this hoodie, and you're probably looking at it like, wait, I've never seen that before. And you're completely right, because we actually came out with this one. We were super split on this. Like half of the team chose the black on the sandstone. The other half of the team chose the white on the sandstone. And we were like, oh, which one do we want to release? And we never released the sandstone before, so we really can't make a wrong decision. And we were talking for hours and hours on just color. And these are the things that you guys don't really know about, but there's really endless discussions on stuff like this. And we ended up going with the white because it's just, we wanted that hoodie to have a very clean and refreshing feel. And I think we made the right decision, because that is still one of our most popular items. So we sold it, had pre-order number 1 and then pre-order number 2, and it's still selling crazy. So the entire classics collection and relaunch is doing awesome. And so I really want to thank you guys for all the support that you've been giving us. But here's some secret news that I do want to share with you guys. And it's that the classics line is coming to an end. And it sounds bittersweet, but it's not, because we're gonna be working on some new branding. Yup. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna be like, oh shit, no, I love Barbell Brigade. Don't work on the new branding. Please, 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 please don't do it. Don't change anything. I love Barbell Brigade. Just come out with the classics in every single color of the rainbow on the Pantone book. I'll buy this exact same hoodie in 6,000 million different colors. I know you're saying that because that's what everyone says, but it's time for the brand to grow. The brand is growing. And one of the biggest issues that we had actually is, it's a two-part issue. One, we try to sponsor a very internationally known and recognized powerlifting event, and they're part of the pipeline to go into Olympics, like they're trying to be in the Olympics, and we wanted to sponsor them. They actually rejected us because of the skull, and they felt like it wasn't appropriate for that organization. So that's one big hurdle that we have. If we really want to grow to this international global brand, we need to be able to sponsor Olympics one day, or the NBA one day, or NFL one day, and so that held us back on one end. The second thing is, although our logo is really dope, we never felt that it was that original. It's not our Nike swoosh, you know, like the Nike swoosh is such a unique design that no one else has it. Anything that comes close to a check mark, you're gonna be like, wait, they're copying Nike. And so we always, even from the start of getting this skull, we've always wanted something that had that same uniqueness, where it's like you see that and you're like, aha, I know what that is. The skull and crossbones motif has been used a lot. Like if we were to be at, like, let's say a giant convention, and there are a ton of other brands that also use a skull and crossbones, although completely different as their logo, from far away it's gonna look very similar. So those are two huge hurdles that we realized in order for us to grow as a brand, we have to overcome these things. So stay tuned, because you're gonna see our new branding here first on CEO's Corner.